Already? We start and we see this already. My intro has been ruined by these SCVs being brought. But anyway, let's go into fast track. Here on World Sleepers, in the top right, we have Korean name. I don't have the translator on StarCraft. I don't have a way to make this text. So, Red Terran on the top right. And his opponents on the bottom left, it's Blue Terran Perkshy. So Perkshy, guys, is a returning player. He returned like 3 weeks ago, and he is in silver, but he's looking to climb the charts and move up the ranks. In the meantime, his opponents, the Red Terran, is on gold. And interesting enough, we have 3 SCVs already sent in here onto the side of World of Sleepers. Now, if you don't know this map, it basically has a mineral field blockade that prevents you from getting the safer expansion. It does take a little longer to get on through, and if you don't actually harvest it, well, it is a little difficult to go around and defend it. But at the same time, if you open it up, it's going to be an easy pathway for your opponents. So you have to choose carefully, and usually in this map, people ignore that base and go northward, or the aggressive players go here instead. Now, it isn't as popular nowadays compared to the season before because this rich Vespine Geyser has been turned into a green one instead, so it provides half the gas without any of those perks basically. And it seems like our Red Terran has decided, hey, I'm gonna build a supply depot wall and give the SCV a paid vacation to stay and make sure everything is fine. But anyway, it is gonna be all about that cheese. Proxy barracks into the field. Now this has to be a lift on up and just look to land onto the main base itself. Now, how will Perkshy defend this? Because he is playing pretty standard so far, except with the very early reactor, I believe. He is going to go for double barracks instead, so it is actually a biological approach here from our Blue Terran in this TVT. Now, Perkshy isn't going for the expansion as of yet. He's trying to make sure that his opponent is going to safely let him do so, because he's not scouting whatsoever. He is going to try to get the Marines up instead. And this looks like that Perkshy is playing a little shy and would want to build a bunker first here before going to that second base. But he, lo and behold, he might not be expecting this, as these are Marines now being brought on in. In the meantime, supply depot here and now. And I feel like the issue here for our Red Terran is he wants to open this up, but doesn't realize that he needs 4 workers instead of just 2. So what is really the plan here for our Red Terran? Because this proxy isn't really the best because there's a huge blockade in the way in the first place. Anyway, Tech Lab is set on up, and we are going to get a reactor onto the factory itself as well. Now, in this instance, the factory is not going to be double pumping out those Hellions. Instead, the starport is going to be lifting on up and go where the double production is. Medevac's going to be into the field, and it's really refreshing to see a bio player today in this patch. It's always fun to see those Marines try to move around, start a step action, stim back wisely, getting those drops on. I feel like it is the natural way to play the Terran, and then Mech is a new school cool kind of thing. But Perkshy now looking to defend on that high ground. He does need to lift this up, or this is going to be an opening really welcoming the Red Terran in the first place. Gatling guns are a go. Perkshy lifting it up at the last moments. But does he have anything in behind? Now he decides to go for the double pump Hellion instead. Very good notice here from our Blue Terran. He realizes, hey, I can't go for the medevacs, I can't go for the drops because my opponent is already on my doorstep, and he's just buying time with the structures to get those Hellions on. Now, perfect positioning here for the Hellions. In the cook-on, he has to make sure that his micro is on point to keep these alive, but no, it's not gonna happen. And even though those units were pretty effective and pretty efficient, well, they go down pretty easily. Liberator now looking to go online as well. And what can Perkshy do in this instance? He's just looking to go for as much minerals as possible. Might be looking for a lift off as well. Marines right now being pumped up as well as another Hellion. But interesting to note that Perkshy has not built an orbital command, and this does allow him to go for the planetary fortress instead. This is so peculiar here and now, ladies and gentlemen. You want to have that orbital command early on to get more mules, to get more money, and to just snowball from there. But since Perkshy didn't go for the orbital command early, he has the opportunity to go for the planetary fortress since the engineering bay was really in his cards to begin with. So the PF going to be look for the defense. You can argue that if the orbital command was up, Perkshy would have had more and could have built more in the first place, but we're looking into futures that never happened. Instead, we're gonna see the Blue Terran try to defend as much as possible. In the meantime, the SCP is being pulled to go for the repair, and it seems like this planetary fortress is going to be kept alive for the time being. In the meantime, the Red Terran deciding, hey, if I can't go to the PF, I might as well mop everything up instead. Supply depots go down, Perkshy will be forced to build onto the defensive edge, and the planetary fortress is the only thing stopping him from getting eliminated into this game. The Terran right now onto the eastern side, but the PF! Oh my god, what a hit from the planetary fortress! And splash damage is truly king in this scenario. Perkshy right now just tearing everything apart with that stationary building. Now the planetary fortress, guys, cannot lift off. It is stuck firmly onto the ground. This is where it's gonna stay for the rest of its life. And in the meantime, SCP's pulled to go for their round on the one poor Marine. Perkshy trying to defend this refinery, and right now, Planetary Fortress defending those SCVs. It's a symbiotic relationship. The refinery is going to be trying to stay alive. It seems like Perkshy will give up on it. He might want to build up behind the Planetary Fortress. That's what he's going to do. Barracks going to be there. Supply depot set on up as well. And he might want to make this Vespene Geyser into the refinery at the same time. Anyway, seems like Perkshy has forced a little bit of a reset. But he can always go for the money. He has so many workers right now, and he can go for the refinery here very, very safely. In an instance like this is pretty much his safe space right now. Everything beyond this line, he cannot go to. Anything beyond this line, cannot go to. Because this planetary fortress is so effective against all these Marines. But in the meantime, it seems like our Red Terran has forgotten about every other building in the game. He's staying on with the barracks, he's staying on with the Marines. And by this point in time, if this is all you're gonna be building, well, it's not gonna be a good time. So we'll see how Perkshy is gonna rebuild. Let's just go through this pretty quickly, because this is really the Red Terran now playing it slow and steady. Supply depots now coming on up onto that main base, so it seems like there's gonna be more Marines here for our Korean player. But in the meantime, we see the bunkers now that Perkshy was trying to build earlier on in Essence. Look for the expansions. Sure, he is on that one base, but what does our Korean guy do in the first place? He's going for the engineering bay, and he is also gonna build a factory on the outside. It seems like siege tanks gonna be in order, missile turrets, interesting enough, being built all around as well. And it seems like our Red Terran has forgotten everything else. As soon as the planetary fortress came, he didn't know what to do, and he's just building a lot of missile turrets, expecting battle cruisers, expecting liberators here, and now that one Marine tries to scout, gets met by the bunker. And what does our Red Terran know in the first place? He knows there are buildings in behind the SCVs right now, looking to expand as much as possible, making sure that this is an optimal space. And apparently, in all of this, Perkshy able to get that 111 set on up. Now siege tanks being built on both sides, double factories actually, but only one of them having tech labs. And you can really see that this is a low tier game around the silver rank. But Perkshy is not one of them. He is a returning player. It's been a while since he come online rather, and you could really say that this is part of placements, this part of the league trying to figure out where he really belongs, and just deciding on that, deciding the planetary fortress already shows that he's a better player than his opponent. Sure, he could have did things earlier, sure, he could have defended better with that micro, but right now he's showing his edge against the Red Terran by this point. In the meantime, finally, the Red Terran decides to go for that second base. Hasn't really been done. They're looking to go for a 200 mark perhaps, but it doesn't even matter. These siege tanks are always in position. Perkshy making sure the cliff is where he can bombard from. The Red Terran cannot do anything whatsoever. And in the meantime, we have the missile turret up, but it doesn't even matter. It's just Vikings looking for the scout, looking to get sightlines. Perkshy just getting creeping closer and closer. Here comes the Red Terran, looking to do the same. Repairing right now onto the factory. Barracks instead going to be sacrificed in terms of that hull percentage to get that vision on. And Perkshy luring those Marines. They go down pretty easily. Sure, we're watching in times too, but the action pretty slow into this one. Missile turret now fending things off. And Perkshy should have this one in the bag if the Red Terran does absolutely nothing in behind all of this. He has 94 worth of supply, but he's not even getting close to what he can build in the first place. The barracks have been completely forgotten, and it seems like the Red Terran just running these units in just to die. Siege Tank right now, the next target. Good realization. Just drop that down. And yes, more factories. Apparently this is the answer. More factories in the front lines. Sacrifice the barracks. Interesting game. Very, very interesting. Agent X, the one who sent the most interesting game. I didn't know that that word was gonna show up, so please warn us next time. Holy crap. But anyway, factories are here and now for a Red Terran. this is a turn from a clown fiesta to a clown what? There you go, the game's over. Well played for Perkshy. Planetary Fortress wins games, guys. Planetary Fortress wins games. And, you know, we just went about that. I don't even know what the Red Terran was really thinking by this point. It's like, hey, I'm gonna build Marines. And then he stopped. It's like it was a program, and then when it needed to go beyond the program, it stopped. But well played there, honestly, to Perkshy, realizing where to build, where to go. You can really see that he isn't up to par as of yet with his old school play, but he is getting there, and he still remembers how to play the game, remembers how to counter things. And right now it seems like he's just keeping up with the game to scout out what the hell was my opponent doing, sees absolutely nothing on the Red Terran, and he can call it there. Planetary Fortress was the proper choice. He was going by you anyway. I do wish though he did with Orbital Command to get more money with those mules and build better and micro better. That would go a long way instead of really exploiting what his opponent couldn't do. But it is what it is. Not everyone is going back up the ladder, and everyone is just trying to find their place in the StarCraft 2 ecosystem. Well played there to Perkshy, and we'll see you guys into the next one.